Have you ever thought that your design looks perfect and then upload it to your site only to have buyers scroll right past it? Well, I think it might be because most print-on-demand sellers are making the exact same design mistakes, the kind that look pretty in Canva but then flop in real life. Now, over the last year and a half, I have been able to review hundreds of print-on-demand stores from sellers in my own community, and I kept seeing the same exact flaws that buyers ultimately hate and scroll right past. So today I'm going to review 6 of these mistakes. I'll explain exactly why they hurt your sales, show you how to fix them so that buyers actually want to wear your hard work. But before we get into it, you're going to want to stick around for mistake number 6 because it's one of the easiest to avoid. Yet almost every AI assisted designer I know still makes it. Okay, let's start with mistake number 1, which is a big one. Imagine that you're driving 60 miles an hour and you see a street sign filled with little tiny letters and numbers, and there's dozens of arrows. By the time you've processed it, you've already missed your turn. There's a reason that highway signs are massive and not little tiny street signs. And that's ultimately what is happening with our overcomplicated t-shirt designs. Buyers don't get to study our work. They quickly will glance at it, judge it, and then scroll on. Let's take a look at a board that I created to show you each of these mistakes with examples. Now, mistake number 1, as you can see in the design on the left, we have chef, multitasking, problem solving, likes beer, requires caffeine. It goes on and on and on. There's a lot of text packed into a really small space. So we have to remember we need to stop somebody scrolling, whether that is on Etsy or that is on Facebook ads. We are stopping somebody mid-scroll. So it needs to have something that is standing out and catching their eye. And a lot of times when we have little tiny text like this and crammed together, nothing is ultimately standing out. You're just kind of seeing a white wall of text. So to avoid this, we want to keep our designs pretty minimal, at least for t-shirts, because of the fact when someone is wearing a graphic t-shirt, they want somebody to witness it and to visualize it. You know, that's part of the reason that you wear a graphic. For example, my logo. I want people to see my logo, so I wear it. And I want it to be big enough that people see it's a logo and maybe they question, what is that logo? So we want the exact same thing in our t-shirt design. So instead of this chef design with, a wall of white text, instead we can do something simple like this. Problem and solved. You can see it from far away. It's very simple and it gets straight to the point. There is no reading a wall of text. I'm not saying this design is terrible, but I'm saying it's not going to stop somebody from scrolling. Overly complex designs are going to lose their impact at a distance. So in order to fix this, we want to go bold and go clear. If our message can't be understood in less than 2 seconds, then we really need to simplify the design. And later I'll show you how another mistake can make this problem twice as bad without you even realizing it. But before we get to that, let's get to mistake number 2. Now, imagine being served a big steak dinner, but the plate is the size of a coffee saucer. Now, everything is just crammed and really nothing looks too appealing on the plate because it's just overflowing. Now, negative space, we can think of that as our plate. It is the shirt color coming through, framing and bringing life into our design. Now, maybe you're sitting there asking, well, what exactly is negative space? Negative space is the t-shirt coming through the design. So let's go to the board and take a look at what this one looks like. As you can see on the left, we have a design that has none of the t-shirt color coming through it. It's really just one big block of ink. So not only is it not super visually appealing, but at the same time, that customer is just going to have a sheet of plasticky print on it. And ultimately, it's not the most comfortable for the customer. Now, it definitely depends on the niche that you're in. There are some trending styles that have like that full boxy print, but for the most part, in the majority of niches, like unless you're in something really trendy for Gen Z, we're going to try to avoid this at all costs. Instead, we really want to work with getting negative space or some of that t-shirt through the design. As you can see on the design on the right, we have the rabbit holding the carrot. And you can see the carrot, it really jumps out because it's bringing the actual t-shirt color through. So they are using the color of the t-shirt to help improve the design. This is what I mean by negative space. So how exactly would we fix this in a design? We want the shirt color to act as part of the design. So spreading out the elements can help, creating breathing room and giving the viewer's eyes a place to rest. It's not like too crazy or too busy because the colors are matching from the top all the way to the bottom. If you are able to incorporate negative design, you're more likely to get somebody to stop scrolling and look at your design because it's just more visually appealing to the eye. And I don't know about you, but looking at that carrot, it really does pop off of the shirt. Now, mistake number 3 is like putting a 5-course gourmet meal on a paper plate. Now, the food may be really good, but the presentation just feels wrong. Now, some designs work on posters or mugs, but really not on shirts. Buyers expect certain illustration styles, layouts, and fonts on their apparel. Break that pattern of what they feel like is a typical graphic t-shirt, and something will feel off. So here's my example for mistake number 3. You can see the design on the left, it's not bad by any means, but it's not really catching your eye. Mostly because the fact this design is not based off of any best-selling t-shirt design research that's out there. But the one on the right is pulling in multiple best practices from t-shirts. As you can see in the background, we have that retro sunset, which is very common on graphic t-shirts. So when people see that, it's kind of jumping out of like, oh, I like that graphic t-shirt. I've seen other t-shirts with that same similar pattern. A lot of best-selling t-shirt designs actually have a faded type of look to it. One, it helps to get some of that negative space from the shirt through the design. And at the same time, it's just aesthetically pleasing to the eye. It's not too hard. It's not kind of jumping out. Not everybody, when they wear a graphic t-shirt, want to completely stand out in a crowd. I'm sure there's some people who buy t-shirts to be that person, but the majority of us just want to wear a shirt that makes us feel good, but doesn't point us out and make us the center of attention. So here's my fix for avoiding this mistake. You want to go store spying. Look at bestsellers in your niche. Study the graphic choices. We want to be studying the font choices, the graphic weights, the layout flows, and then adapt those patterns to our own brand. Now, I'm not saying copy these designs by any means, but look at the different design patterns that they're using. What kind of fonts are they utilizing? Are they using that faded type of print? This is a great place to kind of get those creative juices flowing and understanding what people in your niche are even interested in. Now, before we jump into mistake number 4, if you're liking this video and you want this design do's and don'ts board to keep an eye on when you're designing, as well as a full design checklist to keep track of where every single one of your designs is in your print on demand process, I'm giving them away to you today completely for free. To grab these resources, just click the link in the description below and join my free school community. There you'll gain access to the board, and you'll also gain access to that checklist that you can use as you are uploading all of your designs, as well as a 31-hour print on demand course that you can use to jumpstart your print on demand journey. So if that's interesting to you, click the link in the description below, join my free school community. But enough about that, let's get into mistake number 4. I want you to picture printing a vibrant sunset photo in black and white. You lose all of the emotion, right? Poor color choices will kill shirts fast. One being low contrast. If your design isn't jumping off of the t-shirt, it's probably not going to catch somebody's eye. Or it could look good on your mock-up, but ultimately when you print it, the print is not coming out as vibrant. There may be no underbase on your dark garments, or you may overuse some gradients. And when we do this, we make the design look washed out or muddy when it's printed. We want our print to be nice and clear and of a high quality. So let's go back to the board and dive into what I'm talking about here. Now, as you can see on the left, we have this design and it's really hard to see. Now, an easy fix for this shirt would simply be changing the print to be a little bit more vibrant, maybe making it not as much of a dark gray, but a lighter gray, so it's starting to jump off of the t-shirt. Now, another common mistake that I see is when people will use a gradient, kind of like an ombre, rainbow fading. Sometimes those colors in the middle almost blend in too much with the t-shirt color. And so then the design kind of loses some of that pop and some of that focus. Now, to fix this, we want to do something more on the right, where we have colors that are standing out against our t-shirt. This design could potentially not work out great on a red shirt because the red column would probably blend into the t-shirt. So this is something we want to keep in mind. Now, this mistake isn't something I would necessarily say needs to happen like while you're designing. You should be thinking about this more when you're uploading your designs into Printify or Printful, because of the fact that is where we are selecting our t-shirt color. So for this Surf California, looks great on black, probably would look pretty good on white, but red, it would definitely blend into that shirt. I wouldn't pick red. Maybe I wouldn't pick a turquoise shirt color either because it would blend in with the S. So we want to be really strategic about the color t-shirts that we're picking our designs to go on. And if it doesn't look good on that color, then I don't include it. There are some designs on my store, the print only looks good on either white or black. So I don't have any other colored shirts. Like I literally only have one color for them to choose. I would rather somebody only get one color where I know the print is going to look really good and vibrant than giving them the choice to pick a potentially, turquoise or red shirt and then get the print and go, why did you even ship this to me? This design looks terrible. So that is something that you want to keep in mind, not necessarily as we're designing, but as we are uploading in those platforms. Now to fix this, we want to test print swatches. Check the contrast on all the shirt colors, use gradients and effects sparingly. Sometimes we overdo it because what sometimes pops on screen can die once it's on cotton. Now, let's talk about mistake number 5. I want you to think of a street sign that has super thin cursive. You'd never read it in time, right? Or maybe you're somebody who struggles to read cursive. Typography errors are rampant in print on demand. Some fonts are too thin, or the text is too small, or there's multiple styles that are kind of competing with each other on the eyes. Now, why this matters is because if our buyer can't read it instantly, then they're not going to buy it. It's kind of like mistake number 1, where if it's not standing out, it's not catching the eye, people are going to scroll right past it. Now let's go to the board and take a look at this example. As you can see with mistake number 5, we have pumpkin season as well as 6 little pumpkins. It's not a bad design by any means, but it's not jumping out at you. Versus the design on the right, this seller used very popular typography fonts. I don't know about you, but I've seen this varsity style font in every single graphic t-shirt store that I've ever been in. Whether you're at the beach or you're up in New York, wherever it may be, you've probably seen a t-shirt with this font. So by selecting this font, you have a better chance of standing out and getting a sale versus this one on the left. Even pumpkin, the U is kind of gone. It's not the easiest text to read. So when somebody sees that shirt, they're not going to go, what does that say? Pumpkin season? So we really want it to jump off and someone just sees, oh, pumpkin season. It's very clear and ultimately easy on the eyes. So how exactly do we fix this? Now we want to use 1 or 2 strong fonts max. Adjust the spacing and the sizing for instant readability, even from 6 feet away, because remember guys, not everybody is wearing a shirt to be the center of attention and stand out, but they're wearing that shirt for somebody to be able to read it and visualize it. But even if your text is perfect, the last mistake can make your design look completely cookie cutter, which leads us to mistake number 6. I want you to imagine walking through a street market where every vendor is selling the exact same mug. There's no differentiation from it. It is literally the exact same mug at every single store. That's ultimately what happens when designers use the same AI prompts and never customize the results. Now, this is something that I think people visually get used to. I think designers will get into a flow where AI is giving them pretty decent outputs and they feel really good about them. But the output will start to feel like stock art. And honestly, buyers will spot it instantly. I kind of think of Creative Fabrica like designs when I'm thinking about this AI mistake. Now, it makes sense why the AI is doing this because, as we were saying, I really like that. That's a great output. It starts to do more and more like that. So if we aren't changing up our chat and changing the way that we are prompting the AI to generate our designs, a lot of times we can get designs that feel really similar to what we just designed. So let's take a look at this example so that you see what I'm talking about. As you can see on the left, all of these designs are about tacos, right? But they all feel pretty much the same. It's the same colors, red, yellow, green, some white, all on black backgrounds, which is fine. And it's good, it's all in the same niche, but doesn't it feel like pretty much every single design is the same? Now, let's take a look on the right. Again, all taco designs, but every design is different. And this is what we want in our shop. Because of the fact, like, yeah, maybe we're all about tacos. We're in the taco niche, but we don't want people to come to our store and just feel like we have one design, buy it or leave. We want to have designs that kind of fit for everybody, every taco lover. You know, maybe you're a taco lover who really loves cats, or maybe you're a taco lover who just wants the simplicity of a taco shirt. You know, it's really good to change up the style because we don't really know what's going to hit. So when I see designs here on the left and people are like, I just don't understand why nobody's buying from my store, it's really disheartening to have to tell them every design feels the same. So it breaks my heart whenever somebody asks me, I just don't understand why I'm not selling. Like, can you take a look and see what's happening? And I come to their store and it feels like this. And I have to say, it really just feels like the same design is all over your store. You're not giving anybody really anything to choose from. Versus on the right, we have plenty to look at and plenty of different styles that we could potentially stand out to a buyer with. Now, here's my fix for mistake number 6. If you're using ChatGPT, it's going to be really important to change the chat for different designs and different design styles. Because of the fact, if we continue running in the same chat, it starts to get a little confused because it's pulling back on basically what we had just designed. But as we can see, we don't always want the exact same style over and over and over again. We want to test different styles, test different areas of the niche. And sometimes by doing that, if we stay in that same chat, we're just going to get repeat kind of cookie cutter designs because AI thinks that that's what we want. Now, if you're using templates, it's going to be important to go back to that like homepage or back to the template library on, Kittl or Playground AI or even Mystic. And you want to be playing around with those different types of templates and remixing off of them. So not every single design is that same taco design over and over and over again. So these are the 6 major design mistakes that I see sellers making all the time. And if you're making these design mistakes, then buyers are definitely noticing. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. It would absolutely mean the world to me. And if you're interested in joining my free school community, just click the link in the description below. Grab this design do's and don'ts board, as well as the design checklist, and gain access to those 31 hours of print-on-demand course materials. Other than that, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.